Okay, so guys, I have a problem going on here in the studio. This right here is my mic, and I have it exposed. So we just went offline. Now we're fully back on. I have some questions that I actually got, so we're fully back on now. Um, Alexa, turn on the AC. Yeah, that's very annoying, but it's the only way. Drop a 1 in the chat. We just went offline because the equipment heated up way too much, and then things basically crashed because it gets very hot in this room right here. Because the AC, that's the AC right there. If you guys can hear the AC, let me know. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I took let me see right here. Let me turn this on.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, so we're back on. We have some questions here. Okay, one, Elizabeth, thank you for joining back. I saw your question, took a picture of it, so don't worry. You don't have to say it again. But yeah, what happened was, guys, drop a 1 in the chat if you're able to hear me properly. Who said 2? if you can hear me properly, and if the AC is not so annoying. But it's like one of those old ACs in this apartment, so that's why it sounds like that. But if you guys can hear me and it's bearable, then that's fine. That's good to go. Okay, let me go ahead and answer your questions, guys, right now. At least we're able to basically go over the whole topic of jobs before we actually cut out. So I'm very happy about that. But I got to get this room to kind of cool down. So there you go. If you guys hear like background noise, that is why. So any more questions, comment them down below. But I do see your question right here because I basically took a picture of it when I got right back. So yeah, I see right here, Elizabeth. For someone who wants to buy a duplex property to house hack, what are the first few steps that I should be taking beforehand, such as saving up money for a down payment and closing costs, etc.? Great question. So usually when it comes to closing costs, it's going to be like around 2 to 5% of the property value. Usually that's how much you're actually going to end up actually paying, which is fine. When it comes to a down payment, they allow you to put down around 3.5%. I recommend you put at least 10%, and I recommend actually put at least 20%, right? Because in reality, 20% means you don't have to pay PMI insurance, means private mortgage insurance, means insurance in case you don't pay, and that insurance is not for you, but is actually for the mortgage company. It doesn't help you in any way. Now, when you get into real estate with such a small amount of money, just like 3.5%, barely your closing costs, barely anything, the idea is if things go wrong at some point, you're gonna have issues because you can't afford it. If the roof starts leaking, your tenant turns out that was the worst tenant ever in history and left the apartment completely trashed, you're gonna have a problem. And remember, right, whenever you're gonna have a duplex, the math is still the same. The tenant's money should just be a bonus, icing on the cake, but it should not be used, for example, to justify you buying something you can't afford. Let me explain this, okay? This means, for example, if, by the way, since birth I was sentenced, oh, I can't say that name, but congratulations on actually buying a condo for cash. Tell me more about it. Comment down below, let me know the details here. But the core idea is, right, Elizabeth, what we follow is, when we're gonna buy a property, we put down at least 10 to 20%, right? That's fine. But the rule is we follow the 33% rule on a 15-year mortgage. Meaning, if my name is Elizabeth and I make, for example, $4,000 per month, maybe more, maybe less, doesn't matter. It's just an example. Multiply this number by 0.33. That means when I buy this property, duplex, single family home, it cannot exceed 33% of my monthly income, which in this case is around $1,320. This way, for example, I'm only spending around a third of my income on this property, including the mortgage, the maintenance, the taxes, HOA, all that good stuff, right? That's the goal. So that way, if things do go wrong for me, I'm able to cover it. If, for example, the tenant stops paying, doesn't matter because this math has been done with my numbers. So meaning, if I do buy a property with this math and this budget, and the tenant pays, for example, an extra $500, well, guess what? That's just extra money to the pot, right? But it can't be used to kind of like twist the numbers and bend the numbers, because you can't say like, well, my budget is $1,320, but the tenant is paying, for example, $500. So my real budget is $1,820 because they're gonna pay this. Because in reality, if they do stop paying, if things do get kind of messed up, well, you are going to be in trouble. That's the core idea. So if I were you, to summarize here, I'm gonna save up a minimum of 10% for the down payment. But before I do that, for example, I'm debt free, including student loan debt, credit card debt, personal loan debt. Second, I have 6 months to 3 months worth of emergencies. Third, I'm investing around 10 to 20% of my money towards my retirement. And then with the rest of my extra money, I can then go ahead and use that money towards saving money to actually buy this property. Meaning, if things go super wrong, you have 6 months to figure things out. If things go super wrong, this property is just a third of your income, not half your income. So you're able to just go out there and find a job to actually pay for this property. That's the goal. I don't want you to be, for example, house rich but cash flow poor. Because when things go wrong, you're going to be in trouble because you just don't have the cash flow to solve these problems. Hopefully, Elizabeth, that does make sense. And again, guys, sorry we have to restart here. But yeah, things happen. We build it while we fly. Right now, the AC is on, so hopefully it won't have to happen again, and so on. Now, I'm seeing another question here. Tommy, can you re-answer my question, please? The stream has started lagging once you answered my question on the EIN hashtag question. Okay, great question. Okay, so basically, if, for example, if I was gonna get a company, whatever, and I register my company under the wrong EIN number, am I gonna send over an amendment to fix it, or should I just basically apply for a new EIN number? The answer is just apply for a new EIN number. It's going to be a lot simpler and easy and faster to just basically get. Going through the whole amendment process might just take a while. So it's kind of like, well, forgot about it. Sorry about that, IRS. But now I'm going to make the real EIN number under the real business, and that way they're conjunctions. And then that way it's just a lot more simple to actually do instead of trying to go, for example, through an amendment process, because the IRS is super slow, man. Yeah. So now look at this, guys. I'm able to see the chat right here on my phone, and I'm able to kind of like answer everything right here from my phone. So that's awesome. Let me reshare the Zoom link with you guys. Okay, let me reshare the Zoom link. Just give me a second, okay? Where's my Zoom? I don't see it. Give me a second, guys, so I can reshare the Zoom link. If you guys want to call me and talk to me one-on-one, feel free to come on and talk to me one-on-one. That is why we are here for, okay? To talk to you guys one-on-one. Okay, so right here is a Zoom link. I'm gonna share it with you guys. If you want to join me, you can join me. You don't have to show your face on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube, that's fine. I see your face just to make sure you're a real person and you're not trying to troll me or anything crazy. So you should be fine. Everything should be fine and solid. So don't worry about it, okay? So now I see here, yes, it does. This is Elizabeth. Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I'm currently working on getting rid of my almost $50,000 in student loan debt. Yeah, that's why I say, right, once you're done with student loan debt and all the other debt, it's just a lot more simple. But if you buy a home and it's like almost half your income, your debt is like another 20% of your income, and then you have your normal expenses, you're like up to here, you know, you're like barely surviving. That's what I basically want to avoid. All right, so okay, so once I do apply for a new one, what is going to happen to the original one, EIN, which I had made the mistake on? You forget about it. It doesn't matter. You just forget about it. Not a big deal. If you make you close out like the LLC, but in reality, because it has no LLC linked to it, it's just like an EIN number. It's fine. If you want to contact the IRS to find out like the exact answer, but I wouldn't worry about it. I can tell you this because basically I've done it in the past, and my accountant told me, Tommy, just let's apply for a new EIN number. No need to do like a whole transfer and amendment thing, because that can just take up time. Now we got 6 people in the house, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Leave a chat in the chat so I know who you are. I can welcome you to the chat. And on top of that, leave a like, right? So we can get the engagement up, because the engagement helps keep these lives actually going, okay, guys? So if you want to join me and talk to me live right now, join me on the Zoom and talk to me one-on-one. That is what we're actually here for. However, though, I do have some calls from some of you guys that I actually got to make. So I'm going to go ahead and make those calls. And You know, it's crazy, man. I didn't expect for this whole thing to kind of crash like that, but it happens. We build it while we fly, and we just gotta improvise when things happen. Okay, Michael D, appreciate all your wisdom and knowledge. Appreciate you, brother. Any questions, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Take advantage, okay? Because remember, right? It might be a small group of 5 people in here, but all these people are going after the same thing that you basically want. So take the chance to basically talk to them one-on-one and everything like that. And why did nobody tell me that this light was off? Okay, looks messed up. Now we're better. Beautiful. You don't know how helpful this is. You are the GOAT, and this serious / live you got going on is really helpful to all of us. I'm happy to hear it's helpful because honestly, like, doing a live from Monday to Friday is kind of tough. So I was thinking that maybe that this week will be the last week, and then starting next week, potentially, don't know yet. Of course, I'll tell you guys before it happens. We might just go live, for example, 2 or 3 times a week. So that's why I say when I do these things, I'm doing it very frequently, take advantage. Use my time wisely, use your time wisely, and just go all in. Like, what's the answer for this? Like, let me touch something one-on-one, because as things keep growing, I won't have the same amount of time. I'm just being honest, okay? Now, if you want to join me on the Zoom, feel free to do so. Again, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but I have to see your face to make sure that you are, for example, a legit real person and you're not trying to troll me. So let's go ahead and make this call over to some of you guys that actually schedule calls on the Calendly. Okay, so here, when you guys schedule a call, I see them here. I don't show your phone number. Everything's safe, so don't worry about it. So let me make this call real quick. I see a question here. Let me answer this question first. All right, Tommy. Let's say you are 19 years old again. With all the knowledge you have now, what is your approach to real estate? You have little to no money saved up. You know, this whole equation, do you save up money, look for a partner, or do you look into becoming a real estate agent? If I wanted to go into real estate, and that was my ultimate goal, like real estate is my passion, is what I want to do. Well, first of all, I'll get like my real estate license, right? It'll take me like a year, maybe less than a year. While I'm getting that, I'm working, obviously. While I'm getting that, I'm reading all the books possible about real estate investing and everything else. Real estate is one of those things that it's amazing because it allows you to have a full-time job while you're basically hustling. Because remember, right, the real estate peak times are usually going to be after 5 p.m. when everyone gets out of work. Because your clients are going to be average people just like you that have jobs and they want to buy a property and they basically go after they're done with work. So you're able to have like a full-time job while you do real estate. So I'll have a job to get me money and income. I'll use all my extra time to learn about real estate and sales and like talking to people one-on-one and networking. And then I'll basically work under other people that I look up to when it comes to real estate and start growing step by step. I'm not into, for example, trying to bypass things, trying to rush things. I'm into things step by step. It's kind of like an apprenticeship, okay? So I work on somebody, I learn everything from them, the good, the bad, the ugly. I use those skills plus the skills that I've learned to basically help me get an edge when it comes to real estate. Elizabeth, would you suggest leaving a $20,000 emergency fund in a high yield saving account at 0.50%? I know it doesn't beat inflation, but I will feel safer with my emergency fund being liquid. First thing is first, your emergency account makes you no money. It's not supposed to be for that or to be inflation. It's supposed to be just for emergencies and for safety. Inflation is basically the dollar loses buying power, meaning your expenses get higher and you need basically more money, more cash to basically pay for the same things. That's inflation. So if after 1 year your $20,000 is not enough, you adjust for inflation by basically putting extra money into it. But the emergency money is not supposed to be for investing. Elizabeth, if I have $20,000 and I owe $15,000 in my student loan debt, I'm going to save $1,000 for emergencies or $5,000, and I'm going to grab that $15,000 and get student loan debt free today. That is what I would do. Stop playing those games, okay? So I would become debt free by tomorrow, be left with $5,000, and rebuild up back my emergency fund to 6 months. Okay, that is what I would do if I were in that situation right there. Now, let me go ahead and make a call. As always, guys, drop a 1 in the chat if you're actually able to hear when I actually call in. So let's go ahead and call. This guy's name is actually Tommy, which is interesting because that's my name, right? Let's go ahead and give this person a call. We build it while we fly. I love these lives, man. I love talking to you guys one-on-one and getting that opportunity. All right, so drop a 1 in the chat if you're able to hear that. If Tommy answers, great. If he doesn't, have another call. And if they don't answer, well, I'll have some of you guys call in and talk to you guys one-on-one and see like how I can
Your
help
call
with
has
the
been
questions.
forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Wait, don't share the number. Because you know they share like the number and stuff like that. So I did not want that. This is Tommy. All right. So let me go ahead and yeah, 1. I hear the ringing. Okay, awesome. Thanks for letting me know, Cash Show. All right, so let's call the other person here, which is named Nay. Let's go ahead and call Nay. Find out what is up with Nay. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to, because your privacy is like very important to me. So the last thing I want is like this automated system be like, oh, the number is 111. You know, that's not what I want. That would be terrible. All right, so let's see what's up.
Hello?
Hi, hello, is this Nay?
Yes.
Hey, Nay, this is Tommy Bryson. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Just want you to know this call is live, okay? So, how can I help?
People.
Can
Hello?
you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Are people able to hear me or no, right?
Yes, people are here to hear you. This is a live call. Very live call. So, yes.
No, I was
So-
just wondering if I wanted to start making money in the next few hours, was it possible
For what?
to start making money in the next few hours or no?
For what?
I don't know anything.
Okay, so how old are you?
22.
Okay, so you're 22 years old. Do you have a job?
No.
Okay. So the first thing is, are you in college?
Yes.
Okay. What do you study?
Biology.
What made you pick? You know, that's interesting because the topic we're talking about today is basically getting a profitable degree. So what made you pick biology?
Because I'm very interested in just like the world in itself, like the study of leaves and just the earth, really.
How much money are you gonna make once you graduate?
I'm expected to make over 100K a year.
Really? Who told you that?
My research.
What field in biology are you going to? Like, what's gonna be your job title?
A pharmacist.
Okay. Well, first of all, when it comes to picking a degree, just make sure things make sense and make sure to have real expectations. On average, that probably won't be your initial wage. As far as, for example, Tommy, how do I start making money now? The first thing is, if I was in college studying biology, which my friend did and graduated and can't find a job, the answer is, if I was gonna do that, what I would do is my priority is graduating debt free. So I'm gonna get a real legit job, right, just to earn some money while I'm in school, and then on the side, if I want to build this side hustle to kind of like generate income on the side in passive fashion, there's a great book. It's called 100 Side Hustles by Chris Guillebeau, and it tells you about, for example, like 100 different ideas when it comes to earning money passively without quitting your job. The goal is not going to be easy, but you need to get a job so you can basically help pay for school. Or, for example, get a job within the biology field so when you do graduate, you have experience and you're able to find a job much easier. And then I would sit down and reassess and kind of do like a 4-hour, 6-hour research on this degree to make sure what I think is in line with reality. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
That's what I would do. So just make sure, remember, right? College is about networking, about getting experience, and also about getting good grades, right? But good grades is like on the last, because if you have no network, you can't find a job. If you have no experience, you can't find a job, right? If you pick the
Right.
wrong degree, and you're hoping to make $100,000, and you graduate, you can't find a job, and you're like, wow, wish I knew this when I was 22 and not when I'm 24. Okay?
Mhm.
Check laborstatistics.gov. They have great information about that degree. Check online, find out what you can do with that degree. Make sure it actually makes sense. Okay? So
Okay.
my advice would be get a job, and then use that money
Okay.
to pay for school. Because remember, right, your number one investment is going to be yourself. So if you're in college, for example, if I went into accounting and I worked at Walmart, Dairy Queen, whatever job, McDonald's, Chipotle, I use that income to pay for school. So when I graduate debt free. Well, that's an investment in itself, because when I graduate, I'm able to start earning, for example, $70,000 on average, starting out, right? That's my investment.
Well,
That's
yeah,
my priority.
my school is debt free just because of COVID. So I have debt forgiveness.
You have debt forgiveness? Do you know on
Mhm.
average debt forgiveness, the applications actually come in, only like 1% actually get accepted? You gotta apply for those things. You know that?
Well,
Just make sure whatever you're gonna do. There's this quote by Warren Buffett, right? It says, "I don't like relying on the kindness of strangers," meaning that if it does happen, great. If it doesn't happen, you have the money. So I'm still getting a job. I'm still saving up the money, and if it doesn't happen, I have the money there to graduate fully debt free. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And apply for a lot of scholarships.
Okay.
All right. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
All right. Thanks again. Welcome to the long-term team.
Bye.
All right, guys. So I can't believe I'm barely finding out about this live. This is pure gold. Look, man, I'm gonna drop it how it is. You know what I mean? Whether we're live, whether we're off live, whatever it is. I've never heard, you know, pharmaceutical industry. Yes, biology, and I'm expected to make $100,000. In what world? Right? In what world? In what field exactly you're gonna go into that's gonna make you that much money? You know what I mean? And when you do biology and you graduate, we're going into that's a pharmacy technician. That's a whole different degree. You know what I mean? So this is why I say take your life mother seriously, right? This stuff is very, 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 very important. You can't go to college and just say the reason I picked this degree is because I like it and I like the world and the earth. I'm being serious, right? You gotta go in there. Hey, the reason I picked this degree is because, hey, Tommy, here's fact 1 through 10. On top of that, I love it, right? I love it because of this. You gotta have the facts together. You gotta know what you're getting into. Tommy, how can I make money in the next few hours? For what? For what? Right? You gotta have a reason for these things. It's important. Your why is important. Get a job, right? When you're in college, get a job. All this passive income stuff is great. Passive income is passive because you do a lot of the work up front and then you get the payout in the end, right? A lot of the times it's like that. So get a job. That job is going to give you seed capital to then fund whatever ideas you actually have. But your priority is graduating with a degree, right? And if you want to build passive income at the same time, then great. But you got to be serious, okay? This is not a joke, man. It's sad. 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 You can tell she didn't get the answer she was seeking, Tommy. Keeps it real for the real ones. Yeah, I mean, Casho, Elizabeth. If I'm ever wrong, guys, I expect you guys to be like, yo, Tommy, that was pretty stupid. Here's why you were wrong. You know, maybe do this and do that. I want someone that tells me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. My friend went into biology, right? You graduate with a biology degree, it does not mean you work in a pharmacy with a whole bunch of different drugs. You know what I mean? It's just a whole different game. $100,000, really? Real quick, guys. Give me a second, guys, okay? I'm looking it up on Google. How much does a biology major actually make? Here it is. The 25%. Oh, you guys think that I'm making this up? Hold up. Let me pull it up on. Let me put it up on. Where's my stuff? Let me pull it up right here, guys, for you guys to actually see everything that I'm actually seeing here. All right, where is it? Let me go ahead and pull it up right here for you guys. Okay, there we go. Let me zoom in. So I'm cutting out. This is real. I'm not making anything up, right? A biology degree. How much can you earn? Here it is, guys. Okay, how much does a biology degree make a year? Top earners, $108,000. Top earners. Do you think honestly, how do you do this whole thing with Excel? Right here. Do you think honestly, for example, that when you graduate, right off the bat, you're going to be a top earner? The answer is no, right? 25 percentile, $41,000. That's more around what you're going to be making. Average, $65,000. What's the growth with this, okay? Or just type in, for example, how much is the biology degree unemployment rate? Oh, let's do this, right? Biology degree on unemployment rate. Well, look at this, 4.2%, not that bad. Medium wage, early career, $37,000. So now we just went down, right? That's why it's so important. You just don't check one source, you check multiple. We went from 100,000, we went all the way down to what, guys, okay? We went all the way down to $37,000. You gotta be realistic. I'm not into candy dreams, man. I'm not into candy dreams. You gotta have legit information to what you're gonna do. And you know, you gotta be able, it's your life. It's not my life. It's your life. So you gotta say, I'm really gonna pick this degree. Let's make sure the math makes sense. One more thing, Tommy, my degree is gonna be free because of COVID, because I'm gonna get student loan forgiveness. Only 1% of the forgiveness applications, usually for teachers, get forgiven after those 10 years or whatever, right? The odds are not in your favor. Stop relying on other people to fix your problems. You know what I mean? So you have to, it's kind of like, if I want, for example, like the government to pay my student loan debt, I want to make sure I got the money. So if they say no, bet I have the money, I can pay it off myself. I don't care about it. It's like the same example I said before, Elizabeth, right? It's kind of like with real estate, right? You want to make sure that it's just a bonus, right? It's just a bonus that tenant pays for you when it comes to like your rent, but it's not that you need the money. It's the same thing here. Be careful, man. Be careful with this game. Again, if you guys want to join me on the Zoom, feel free to do so. I'll share, for example, the calendar link again. So if you guys want to join me, if you want me to call you, I'll share the link. Schedule a call right now, and I'll give you a call right now and talk to you live. Again, your phone number will not be shared. If you want to join me on the Zoom, also, for example, I will not. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, so don't worry about that either. Okay. So right here is the link for the calendar. The link for the Zoom is up there. I'll share it again for everyone that doesn't see it. And here it is again. If you want to call me on the Zoom and talk to me one-on-one. Tommy, what are your thoughts on all these headliners saying that we are in a bubble, the market will have a crash similar to 08, and let's say we do have a crash. What investments do you look to make? Interesting. The crash of 2008 happened because of the whole like these little loans people were making, right? It was like very bad loan, and they were basically packaging them to sell them off, right? Like back then, the story is that in 2008 you could walk into a bank and say, I'm a waiter, but I make $100,000 a year, and they wouldn't even look to verify if it was true or false. So you could basically get whatever you want. That was the main problem back then. Is that going on now? The answer is no. If the stock market overvalued, the answer is it might be. It depends. But that's not the game I play, right? If you are, for example, the stock picker, what are you doing? You're buying companies based on intrinsic value. So you buy it based on what it's worth, not what the market says it's worth. So if I'm buying Apple, I buy based on the intrinsic value I calculated for the company, my target price, not on what the market is saying it's for. If I'm buying, for example, for the long-term index fund mutual funds, I'm buying by doing dollar cost average, a percentage of my income using my retirement accounts. It's going to be, for example, over the long term, 10, 20 years. So I don't care about what's ever going to happen, for example, in a few seconds or whatever. Now, if the market crashes, there are people, for example, that are heavily leveraged. I understand that. I get that. So what does that mean for us? Well, if people, for example, are defaulting on their houses, maybe real estate prices crash or whatever, obviously you can go ahead and buy real estate for cheap. If the stock market crashes by 20, 30%, what can you do? You invest more and buy at a discount. That's what I would basically do. I keep things very simple, but my priorities are still the same. Debt-free first, emergency fund, invest in 10, 20%, buy my own home and pay it off in less than 15 years. That's the goal. Once I'm done with that, if while I'm doing that, the market crashes, I'll buy more, right? My priority is still paying off this house as fast as possible. So that's my answer to that question. If you guys want to join me on the Zoom, feel free to do so. Let me see. I see the questions here. It's funny, you know. I see the questions on my phone before I see them over here. It's strange. I would think it would be the opposite. Elizabeth, Tommy, thanks for all your advice. I just have one question. Okay. Does your answer change pertaining to paying off student loan debt if I'm currently unemployed? A lot changes, right? A lot changes because I think it's Elizabeth. What's her name? It's Elizabeth Owens. Wow, what's her name? I forgot her name, right? But there's this quote that says, "You have to do what's good for you before you do what's good for your money first." So the best thing is, what is good, Petra? The best thing is, right? If I'm unemployed, I owe $15,000 and I have $20,000 in cash. What am I doing? The answer is, right, I'm not worried about real estate or investing. I'm worried about, for example, getting a job. The good thing is right now, student loan debt does not require any payments, but you have until September most likely. Maybe they might, extend it. They probably will, honestly. But the answer is get a job, right? Apply for a job. Get whatever job you can. But Tommy, the job I want to get with my old company that paid me enough money to save this much money is not hiring right now. It's hard. There is so much labor right now. Okay, guys, we got 10 people right here in the chat. Let's get that engagement all the way up. Like this chat. Like it. It helps a lot with the algorithm and all that stuff. So make sure to like these videos. That's the only way we actually keep them alive. So like this live. But the answer is, if I'm looking for a job, right, that I actually want to get, and I can't get that job just yet, I'm going to take whatever job I can get in the meantime to actually have income coming in. That's the idea. Until I do get that job that I actually do want to get. Does that make sense? So if I'm able to actually pull in around, let's say, $2,000 per month from just a random job, great. That's enough income to handle my expenses while I find this other job. So by that point, once I have that $2,000 coming in, I'm able to say, hey, I'm going to use this money to pay off my debt. Because remember, when you pay off the $50,000, you still have $5,000 left over in cash for for emergencies and stuff like that. And you still have, for example, your income from your other job and side hustles of at least $2,000 per month. I use $2,000 because you can make that at McDonald's. You can make that at Walmart, right? So that's why I use that number. $2,000 is around like $24,000 a year. But I would be basically trying to get my job as fast as possible. That's the answer right there. There is so much employment. People are literally having to cut their hours because they can't get employees. So just get a job in whatever you can as fast as possible. Use your skills. More questions. Let me know. I'm gonna try to call that person again, the one we called earlier, guys, and didn't answer, unfortunately. I'm gonna give him another chance, see if he answers this time when I do call in. Let me see if this is the number. Okay, I see a question from Elizabeth again. Yes, I've been making payments to my student loan debt, and I'm currently in school, about to start 2 months of clinical next month in the hospital. So with the schedule, an unemployer won't work. Oh, I see. You have a lot going on, right? You have a lot going on. So, first of all, there are flexible jobs out there, right? So you have, what can I do that can make me money on my own schedule? Find out. Go to Google. a quick idea is, for example, Uber Eats, Uber, DoorDash, pizzas, waiter, whatever it takes, right? Just to have income actually come in. Because my priority is going to be, if I'm you, right? And if I'm actually in medical school, my priority is to graduate fully debt-free. So currently in school, about to start 2 months of clinical. Okay, so guys, we are getting a call. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that call from one of you guys, okay? But yeah, that's my priority right there. To go ahead and basically try to graduate debt-free. So all of my income, all of my money, and I'm also trying to work a side hustle on the side that's more flexible, Uber Eats, whatever it takes to actually get money and give me confidence, okay? That's the idea. And keep your bills super, super, super low. You're going to be doing this for a short time, not forever. So that means my bills are very, very, very low. I might have roommates, whatever it takes. My food bill's not that crazy. Everything's very low. But with my Uber Eats money, I can pay for that. And basically, with all the extra money, I put it towards my medical school thing so that way I can graduate fully debt-free. And remember, right, apply for all the scholarships possible. Guys, give me a second. Keep commenting down below, and I'll basically answer. Let me go ahead and make this call to one of you guys that actually called in. So, and by the way, I'm gonna start having open lines so that way, and share the phone number. So if you guys want to call me, you're able to call me directly, and so I pick up right here for you guys live. So let me see if this is the number. Yes, it is. Let's go ahead and give him a call.
Hello.
Hi, is this Tommy?
Yes.
Hey Tommy, this is Tommy Bryson from YouTube. Just to let you know, this call is live, so people can hear you. Yeah. How can I help?
What's going on, bro?
What's going on, bro? How can I help?
Oh, well, my bad. First I ain't answer. I ain't know who this was, and then too, I just got my haircut. But I had a billion questions about ACORN, and so I'm just now getting started with it. I'm doing that and Robinhood. And the first thing first, I really don't have that much debt. Like, I only got something for my couch and my TV. And so I needed a couple questions. So first, I know to pay off my debt. And then two, I wanted to know how much should I keep putting in weekly or monthly to get bigger and better results for ACORN.
Okay, so the first thing is, ACORNs is a brokerage account where they have full control over your investment. So they have the potential to switch a portfolio from whatever they want whenever they want to. They have that permission. So it's really, really passive, meaning they can do whatever they want and schedule whatever they want to do. So keep that in mind. I don't use ACORNs anymore. I use M1 Finance with my old ACORNs portfolio because that way they can't switch it or sell my investments or anything crazy. So that's what I use. Now, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 26.
What's your income per month?
Per month, I work for the office, so it's roughly like around, I say I'm pushing close to 4.
Okay.
Because I'm doing 8 hours, well, not 8 hours every day. I'm doing 12 or 11 every day.
And I'm guessing like your goal is to build passive income so you don't have to do those 12 hours.
You already know.
All right. So, and you have some debt, which is your couch and your TV?
Yes. Well, no, my couch and my car. My car, no, I got about 10,000 left on my car.
Okay. So the good thing is, you don't have to sell a car if you don't want to, but if you sell the car, it'll just be a lot more easier and just buy a car you can actually afford. Do you have cash?
Yes.
How much?
I have, well, first, I realized I wasn't, in the right place and stuff like that. So I have about close to 5,000 in my savings account, which I literally just got some of that from basically the back pay with the post office. And I'm also getting like, I want to say like close to 4 or 5 in my Navy Federal account. And I'm getting it from my disability.
Okay. So if my name is Tommy, I'm 26 years old, I'm making around $4,000, I have $5K in cash, and I have, for example, $10K in my car note, and I have, for example, some other debt. and I also want to learn about investing, what is my next step? The first thing is I'm getting a budget, right? So
Yeah.
that's gonna help me manage my money. Your main expenses are four, right? You have shelter, utilities, groceries, transportation. Everything else outside of that, aside from insurance, is just gonna be a want. So I would cut those things out. Second, I'm gonna go ahead and save just $1,000. So off of that $5,000, I'm gonna take 1,000 and put that, for example, in a separate account and call that my mini emergency account, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Third, I'll use all the rest of the money plus all my extra income whenever I get paid to pay off my debts using the avalanche method, meaning I pay the debt with the highest APR. The one that costs you the most money, that's the one you pay. So in this case, you have $4,000 plus if you get to, by cutting your bills, you're able to keep like at least 20% of your income. So if you make $4,000 multiplied by 20%, that's an extra like $800 per month. You're able to put an extra $800 per month towards your debt every single month. So that means if you owe, let's just say for example, $12,000 in total in debt, minus $4,000 tomorrow, you only owe $8,000. Divided by 800, that means you'll be done, for example, in 10 months with all your debt. If you get a side hustle, the thing is, it's pretty hard because you're already working 12 hours, so they'll be pushing it a lot. So I'll just probably, if I were you, I'll take for example just my income currently and do it with that, so I'm not miserable. So in 10 months, you're 100% debt free. Now, what's my next step? I'm not investing. Notice I haven't said anything about investing just yet. I'm gonna save 6 months to 3 months worth of emergency money for my expenses. If something happens to me, if things do go wrong, I want to have cash to take care of myself for a minimum of 3 to 6 months. That should take you around maybe like with your current if you're spending, like, say $4,000 divided by 80% that you're actually using, which is let's just see here, 4,000 multiplied by 0.8, that's around 3,200 multiplied by 3. You need somewhere like around like 9,600. So if you're able to put aside the same $800, that's gonna be like around 12 months. So 12 months to have that full-blown emergency account. But again, I'm saying this, but if you're able to save more than half your income, right, then you'll do this, all this stuff, just like a lot more quicker, right? If you're not spending so much crazy money, then you'll do this a lot more faster. That's the whole point. So once you have the emergency money, then you start investing that 10-20% into your retirement accounts, into the index funds and so on, whether it's into ACORN's Roth IRA, now the taxable account, and the 401k with your company. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes plenty sense.
With
and
the
I got
rest of your money, right? You can use that money to start saving up and making a fund for your house, like you're buying a home. Does that make sense? That's the idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
All right, so my first question was, why did you stop with ACORN? Like, do you like to have control of your stocks or stuff like that, investing, or was you just plain like not feeling it no more?
I don't. It's not really like I'm not feeling it anymore. The reason I switched from Acorns was I was using them as my primary account for investing. So imagine, for example, you're investing 20% of your income. Right now, it might not be a lot, but eventually it'll add up to a lot of money. Now, when you do Acorns, it's a passive investment method because they're basically investing into index funds and ETFs or whatever it is. So it's supposed to be passive. So you do that to save money on fees and taxes. But Acorns, for example, I think they got an investment, allegedly, don't want to get sued, from BlackRock. BlackRock is also an investment company. So when that happened, they switched over their old portfolio, which was basically made up of a bunch of Vanguard ETFs, over to the BlackRock ones. Now that means they sold my portfolio and then bought, with that money, those investments, right? I'm not saying it's a bad portfolio, but then that cost me a bunch of money in capital gains tax because it's sold. And whenever you sell, you pay taxes if you have a gain. And I had a gain. And who's to say, for example, that won't happen again? So to avoid that, I went with M1 Finance, where I build the same portfolio, right? The last one that I had. I'm able to invest into it automatically. and manage it the same way as Acorns, but this way no one's gonna sell it because I'm not selling anything, because again, it's for the long term. And M1 Finance has, for example, Roth IRAs, they have IRAs, they can do rollovers, which are 401k, they can do everything and anything that Acorns was doing. Makes sense?
Because it makes perfect sense. My thing is, I want to become, once I retire and stuff like that, I want to become not just, I don't want to have just $1 million in the bank. I want, at least 2 or 3. So that's why.
You don't need. Okay, so stop there, right? Let's be realistic, right? You don't need $2-3 million or $1 million, right? What you need is more income that you're gonna be spending in passive income. So with the plan I just gave you, right? When you're debt free, you have a full-blown emergency account, and you're investing, for example, 10-20% of your income. When you buy that home, and you buy, for example, using the 30% rule, meaning, hey, I bought this home, is no more than a third of my income, and I bought it also on a 15-year mortgage, that means you'll be done paying it a lot faster. If you put extra income towards it, you'll be done, for example, in 10 years. So now, 10 years later, right, Tommy, it means you're saving 33% of your income that you would be spending, for example, on your mortgage. That's just free cash flow for yourself now. Does that make sense? Meaning your expenses are very low because all you have is utilities, groceries, and transportation. A little bit of insurance and taxes in the home, but that's it. And maintenance. Meaning, if all you need to live is, for example, let's say $30,000 a year because you don't spend that much money, if we use the 4% rule, that means all you're going to need to get that money, for example, in passive income, is around $750K to pay you that much money every single year in passive income. But that's not it, because if you have a job that you actually enjoy and you love, right, you're able to still work that job, still earn money, and still make money at the same time, passive income. So just like live the life you want to live, but you don't need $1 million, $2 million, or $3 million. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
That's the idea. So if your job has a 401k and they offer a match, the whole goal is to invest there to get the max match. The rest of the money that's left over, you put it into your Roth IRA and you grow it. In order to get $3 million, bro, it takes a lot of money investing per month. But you don't need that if you take care of the house, because that's going to be your highest expense. And the only reason you need so much money is to take care of those expenses. But if that doesn't exist anymore, then you don't need that much money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It makes a whole lot of sense.
That's the idea, brother. Okay.
Well,
any more questions?
Thank you. Too. Now I understand. First, I need to take care of these debts and get them off of me first. I got
Exactly. That way, because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to start investing now, because if you have an emergency, you'll have to sell your investments, or you have to pause everything, and you'll always be, for example, just like barely surviving because you have debt, people to pay. Does that make sense? That's the whole idea there.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I understand, because I understand. I need to stop.
All right, brother. Have a budget. Take care of it. Welcome to the long-term team. Any questions, bro? You're always welcome to come on here. Call me whenever you want, okay?
No problem. Thank you so much for the help, too.
All right. Peace out, man. See you later. All right, guys. So that right there was Tommy. I haven't really met that many people with my name, so that's pretty awesome. But overall, you see, people have this very unrealistic idea. Tommy, I'm going to need at least $2-3 million to retire, and if I don't have that much money, I'm just going to be poor for the rest of my life. The answer is no, it's not true. You don't need that much money. I'm going to show you guys something that's actually very interesting, just so you guys see this for perspective, okay? If you go over to Google, let's go right here. Let's go on Google and type in, for example, savings goal calculator, right? So I'm going to go right here and flip over to this screen. Right here is Google, right? This is Google. And you click, for example, right here, savingsgoalcalculator.gov. Click it. Right? I hope everything is visible. Let me zoom in a little bit further. But here's all the numbers here, right? What's my goal? My goal is to have, for example, $3 million, like he said. It's a lot of money, man. People think it's not a lot. It's a lot of money. So I'm going to start, for example, with, let's say he has $1,000. I'm going to start with $1,000. Okay, great. When do you want this money? In 30 years. Okay, great. How much will you make? 10% on it. Calculate. You need to invest around $1,510. If you're making, for example, let's cut back to myself over here. If you're making, for example, $4,000, well, right here, $1,510 divided by 4,000, that's going to be somewhere around 37% of your money. Right there, 37%. But you also have a mortgage, so that's 33% right there. And you also have, for example, all your other bills. So how do you do it, right? So that's the answer. It's hard. And that's 30 years from now. Imagine if I said, well, let's get it done, for example, in 20 years, for example. Well, that's going to be $4,355. You don't even make that much money. Is how much money that is? It's a crazy amount of money. If you want to do it in 10 years, guess what? That's $15,000 a month. It's a lot of money, right? But if I tell you, well, let's just do, for example, $750,000. That's different. Because, for example, to do it in 10 years, that's like 4,000, right? But not realistic. Let's do 20 years. 20 years of doing this, guess what? It's only $1,000, right? A little bit better, around like 25% of your income. If you want to do it, for example, 25 years, let's just say 30 years to make this a lot more simple. 30 years, that's only, for example, $371. But you are investing, guess how much? You're going ahead, let's cut back to my main camera here, but you are going ahead and basically investing 20% of your income, which is 4,000 multiplied by 20% is $800, right? So right there, $800. Now, let's go use a compound interest calculator to run these numbers, right? Because that's important, to run numbers with your real numbers so you know what the math is actually like, right? It's the whole point of this whole thing. So if you go right here, if I'm going to start off, for example, with $1,000, and I'm going to add every single year, multiply by 12, 800, right? Multiply by 12 is $9,600 right here. And I'm going to give this money 20 years to grow at 10% return. I'm going to have, for example, right here, $611,000. Remember, this money is going to grow 100% tax-free. That is the amazing thing about compound interest. By this point, guess what? You have a fully paid off home, right? Which is awesome. You have a full-blown emergency account. You have no crazy high bills. So that's the point right there. That's what I try to break down to people. You don't need as much money as you think you need if you pay off the home and you make that a priority. Okay, so I'm seeing here some questions here. All right, so right here. Yes. What is the question here? Yes, I'm making payments. Okay, here's the question from Clifford F. Tommy, 30-year mortgage versus 15-year mortgage. Would it not be better to get a 30-year and use the incentives? The incentive is to basically promote a healthy economy, right? How does the economy win? The economy wins by people spending more money and buying things. The 30-year mortgage has massive benefits, meaning you get to deduct the interest for a longer period of time. You get to afford a house you can't afford because it's a longer period of time. But on top of that, what are the cons? Well, you're going 30 years paying for a home. If things go wrong, you're not going to own this home for the next 30 years. The goal is do what's right for you, right? Not the incentive, not anything like that. Hey, Clifford, I'm going to give you $100 if we jump off this building. That's the incentive. No, I'm not doing that. You crazy? That's what I mean, right? So if you got the 15-year mortgage and you follow our rules here and you put extra towards it, you'll be done in 8 to 10 years. 8 to 10 years. That's going to save you, I think it's around, the math says around 60 to 80% of the interest you would have paid in those 30 years. Because they don't tell you that, right? 30 years is a lot of interest also. I deduct interest from taxes. It doesn't matter. It's not like you paid $1 in taxes, you deduct $1 in interest, so you save that. Not, it doesn't work like that. It's more like if you spend $1, you save like 30 cents. That's more like the math when it comes to taxes. So the goal is to be done as fast as possible. Stop trying to extend this game and make other people rich. Make yourself wealthy as fast as possible. 15-year mortgage is going to restrict you to a house you can actually afford. If it's going to be, for example, a third of your income. Remember, right? 15 years is a very long time. 15 years from now, I'm going to be like 40 years old, bro. Right? Clifford, I don't know how old you are, but you're going to be a lot older too, right? So picture this thing. In 10 years, you can be mortgage free, fully everything's solid. That's the goal. That's the idea. I don't want to wait 30 years from now. How old am I, bro? I'm like what? 25 plus 30. That's what? 55 years old. I'm 55 years old, bro. I'm just finished paying my home. That's crazy. Think about that. It's crazy. If I followed that plan, I would be in a different place, man. But by next year, I'll buy my home and I'll fully pay it off in 1 year. Boom, taken care of. No interest, no crazy stuff going on. That's mine. No one can take it away. That's cool to me. That's what I look forward to. Elizabeth, thank you. Okay, so do you believe service businesses are the best for today's era? Example, Uber, Postmates, Craigslist, basically businesses that connect distributions with consumer. They're cool, right? The thing about the economy is that whenever you solve one problem, you create another problem, right? So, and that's good because it creates more and more and more jobs. But some jobs become obsolete. Like a few years ago, being a taxi in New York meant you, for example, had like your own business, but now you just work for Uber. So the idea is, yes, it's a pretty cool business. It's been out for example, opening up a lot of jobs and so on. Service business, what I love about it is basically it's very easy to kind of like automate, right? And it doesn't require that much inventory also. But it also has a lot of competition. So everything has like their pros and cons, right? So just make sure, verify, make sure it makes sense for you. That's the whole idea. If you're not doing these lives at 55, I'm gonna be hurt. I might doing these lives at 55. If you're not doing these lives at 55, you're gonna be hurt. I don't know, man. You know, life is. I hope I'm alive by 55. You know, I hope everything's fine by 55. But 55 is a long time ago, man. Well, a long time into the future. Who knows what's gonna be happening by that time? Maybe YouTube won't be around anymore. Maybe it'll be like some new platform. Most likely it will be. Who knows? A lot can happen. And that's why I say, right? You know, you gotta make sure you take care of yourself now. Whether your job's gonna be obsolete in the next 10 years or 5 years, make sure you handle business now. These people, for example, they make a bunch of money, a lot of money. The average person makes literally around like $1 million to $2 million in a lifetime, right? And at the end of the lifetime, they have nothing to show for it because they always have that mentality of the payment method. I'll just pay for this car over the next 5 years. I need a new car next 5 years. I'm gonna pay for this house over the next 30 years. I just sell the house. I couldn't afford it. You know, like there's always something happening. So handle your business as fast as possible. Guys, we got some more time left. Let me know if you got more questions here. Comment down below your questions. That is what I'm here for. Comment down below, for example, if you want to join me on the Zoom. Join me on the Zoom. The link is up there. So I'll go ahead and share that link again. Just so you guys can actually... I'm actually going to open up the lines. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that for next live. Next live, guys, I'm going to try to go ahead and open up the lines so you guys are actually able to call me when you actually want to, when the lines are actually open. That'll be pretty cool, right? Sorry for all the questions, LOL. Is the process of buying a property in a different country the same as in the US? And is it worth it? Elizabeth, the point of these lives is to ask questions. So I would be upset and very mad if you didn't ask a single question, okay? So get that out your head. Guys, we got 14 people in here. Hit the like button. I appreciate it a ton. That's how we keep things going here. The engagement is solid, okay? Keep the engagement all the way up. The answer is, buying a property is what? Buying a property is, for example, money. It's an exchange. It's a transaction, right? The reason we have, for example, real estate agents and a whole bunch of laws and so on is because basically it's become a very, very big business, right? So you need to make sure everything is solid because you're basically borrowing. Imagine something, right? You're buying something that's going to cost you around 15 to 30 years to actually pay off. This is massive. So that's why you have a whole industry around it. Now, it's different country per country. Not in a way, for example, where, oh, it's so different because it's still the same thing, right? You're using money to buy a property. Is it worth it? The answer is according to you. So Puerto Rico, the average home price might be like around $100,000 to $200,000. And $200,000 is like a fancy apartment. So that means, but the average rent is almost, for example, between $500 to $1,200 to pretty much there, you know? It's very, very low. So that means you got to run the math and the numbers, right? So if I buy a property here in Puerto Rico for calculations here, of course, the process will be different. but there are real estate agents here in Dominican Republic, in South Africa, everywhere. There's a market for all this stuff. So it's all about just connecting with the right people. That way you know exactly what you're doing. But is it worth it? It's according to the numbers. Numbers don't lie no matter where you are. So that means if I'm going to rent this apartment out for $700 per month, multiplied by 12, that makes me $8,400. But if it costs me, for example, $100,000, that means, right, my return on my investment is going to be around 8.4%. There you go. Is this a good return on my money? I would say it's pretty fair. It's not that bad at all. So I invest $100,000 into this property, and it makes me 8.4% a year. It's pretty good, right? So as long as the math makes sense when you run it, whether it's in the U.S. or outside the U.S., it doesn't really matter. But just understand, for example, the reason usually people say, hey, buy real estate in your local area is because you know your local area best, right? And you know exactly what to expect, how the rents basically are, if it's growing, if it's not growing. But sometimes if it's too expensive or you just don't really want to buy in that area, it's fine to buy outside of it, but make sure you understand wherever you're actually going to buy. It's not like, well, I'm going to invest into this real estate in Puerto Rico, but I've never been. I don't know the tenant laws, the landlord laws. I don't know what to expect. So it's about knowing things and fully comprehending the industry you're actually going to go into. Guys, do we have any more questions? Join me on the live if you want me to with the Zoom link. I'll share it again. But yeah, if we don't have any more questions, I'm about to leave. You know, the goal is to come here, answer questions, and talk to you guys one-on-one. When things have been answered, then that's fine. My local area is New York, which I've been heard other people in real estate say don't do it. You know, it's interesting. You know, I remember. Here's an example, right? There's always a naysayer, right? People that say don't do that, don't do this, don't go into that industry, don't go into this. And if you listen to everybody, you probably won't ever take a first step. The answer is real estate in New York is very expensive. No doubt about it, right? Depending on where you live. But if the math makes sense and you follow the 33% rule and you do all your research, higher prices usually mean, for example, higher rents. So that's also something to consider. But again, your priority is first. Take care of your first property, the property for you, and build on that. And don't be afraid to move, okay? So the thing I love so much about my job is that it's remote, right? So if I want to live in Africa, Asia, I'm able to do that. So I can work from anywhere. So I wouldn't be afraid to move to Florida, to move to anywhere. You know, just for example, if I can get a better lifestyle, afford financial freedom a lot faster, I would consider that. If you want to stay in New York before you buy a property, I recommend, for example, you do a rent versus buy calculator. Meaning, you find out at what point does renting become more expensive than actually buying a property. That's the idea. So in New York, when I did the math, it was going to be around 11 years. So I could go 11 years renting and still not be spending so much money than I would than buying a property. So do the math and run the numbers. And I moved from New York to Puerto Rico because it just made a lot more financial sense. Can't be afraid of moving places. Cash show. Tommy, I had an investment idea. Let me get your thoughts on it. I'm looking to buy a YouTube channel in a specific niche that airs that ALR has a fan base and monthly revenue, then find someone in that can operate and make content on the channel while I collect a percentage of the profit monthly. It's easier said than done. Of course, yeah, it is easier said than done. The answer is it depends, right, on the niche. So if I sold you my YouTube channel, it would make sense because people come here for me, right? I don't mean to be selfish or anything like that, but there are so many channels out there on YouTube talking about finance, but you come here because maybe the way I teach, maybe my stories make you relate to me, maybe my direct communication makes you relate to me. That's why you come here, right? So if you have, for example, like a brand new person, you're like, I don't know this person, right? So who's this guy? You gotta earn the trust all over again. But if it's a channel where basically you don't show your face, that's fine. But just make sure it makes sense and it's a good investment. So make sure you're following the rules, right? So don't pay a bunch of money for this thing when you have a bunch of debt, you have no emergency fund, you're not investing, you're not saving for a home. Do the correct steps first. And if you want to buy the channel, if I invest $1,000 into it and it pays me $230, just make sure that I know what I'm doing. When you hire someone to do something, make sure they also know what they're gonna do, right? Because it's not that simple. YouTube is tough, man. One of my favorite channels I'm so jealous of is I think it's called Lo-Fi Girl or Lo-Fi Cow, something like that. But it's like a channel where it's all about music. It's like music, and it's just like uploading channel, like videos like that. You know, it's very easy to manage that channel, but still takes work. So make sure you know what you're getting into. I definitely don't want to stay here, LOL, Elizabeth. The answer is, then make a plan, right? You got to make a plan of execution. So find out where you want to go, why you want to go there, what your job process is going to be. Apply for jobs before you actually get there. Get a job lined up, and then when you go, you get an apartment. You rent for at least a year to find out the area you actually want to live in, and then you basically, if you're following all the rules, and you buy the property, you pay it off, you get into real estate over there. It's just a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do. New York is awesome. You can earn a lot of money, but it's also a lot of taxes, and it's also very hard to just get started, you know, because it costs a lot of money, and a lot of people, they got to put down 3.5% because they just can't afford it, and they can't get a 15-year mortgage. It's basically they can't afford it. And if you can't afford it, it doesn't mean you do it. It means you find another way. So far, we have 16 people here, guys. If you guys are brand new to the channel, go ahead and join the chat. Let me know your name so you can introduce yourself and I can talk to you guys one-on-one. If you want to join me on the Zoom, join me on the Zoom. If you want, and by the way, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to on the Zoom. That is fine. But I see your face to make sure that you're actually a real person. On top of that, if you want to call me, well, there's a calendar link right there to actually call me and talk to me one-on-one. Let me know if you guys have any more questions. So I'm going to give you guys like around 10 seconds. Okay, here. I appreciate you taking the time out your day for this live. I got to go clock in, Emilio, so I have to leave. Okay, but thanks again. Thanks again, Cash Show, for coming on. Shabu, what is up? What is up, my boy? How's everything going? Thank you for joining me again here. Guys, overall, we are about to be out of time. We got 15 minutes left. I'm going to take a short break like I usually do for like around 3 minutes or like 30 seconds. I'll be back. If I see questions, if people are joining the Zoom, then I'll go ahead and continue the live. If we are not getting any engagement, then I'm about to be out, okay? Because the whole point is to help, but when there's nothing to help, then what's the point of being here, right? That's the whole idea. So I'm going to be going on break right now. Alright guys, so we are back after our 2-minute break. We're officially back. I'm seeing no questions here, so that either means I did a really good job or you guys are just like tapped out. I'm seeing no one on the Zoom, so that is going to be it for me today. Again guys, thank you for joining me on this live. Appreciate you guys a ton. The engagement was on fire today. Again, the goal is to come on here, answer your questions, talk to you guys one-on-one. potentially next week we will not be going live Monday to Friday. It might change, just for example, from maybe Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or just Fridays. Okay, so take advantage this week to talk to me and ask me all your questions, as many as you have. You know, I'm gonna try to basically go ahead and make the show have like a phone number, so you can actually call me live when I actually open up the lines. Okay, so that's gonna be amazing. So I look forward to that. Again, thank you for everyone that came on. We got Shabu, we got Elizabeth, we got Casho, we got by the way, Casho and Elizabeth like took over this live today. So thank you guys for the engagement. Appreciate that a ton. We had Petre in here, we had Clifford, we had and that was about it, man. It was a great group, small group, but great group. Had a lot of fun with you guys. Again, thanks again for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. As always, love you guys. Welcome to the long-term team for the first time here. If you have been here for a while, you guys already know, long-term team for the win. Like this thing before we leave, because it helps a lot out with the algorithm. So like this whole stream before we actually leave. As always, guys, thank you. See you guys next time, and peace.